So I've just finished playing Sniper Elite 4 and I wanted to talk about the game. First of all, I'm going to start with the negative sides as I always do. The first point I want to address is the fact that there's a lot of screen tearing if you don't use vertical sync. This can obviously be handled by some people, but for me it was just way too much and way too disturbing. Using vertical sync, however, has the drawback that you end up having 60 frames per second. That means if you have better hardware, you won't be able to enjoy more than that. That's where the game's going to be stuck. Second point I want to address is the game rewards you after each fight. It gives you medals and ribbons, but the requirements are never explained, or at least I never understood them. Obviously, each ribbon has a name like Pistol Master, which will indicate that you have to use the pistol a lot, but it would be cool for me to know what I need to do. Another thing that I don't like is that the skills are not explained. As a matter of fact, I noticed them late. I noticed them maybe halfway through the game. You see, when you level up, you get a notification that you've unlocked a certain skill, and I just assumed for some reason that skill is auto-selected, but you actually have a skill tree. It is essentially just 2 lines of skills and you have to select one per level. They're very minimal, they don't affect that much, but they still help a little bit, and it's kind of stupid that unless you find where they are and click it, which isn't that difficult, it's in the loadout screen I believe, but still, you know, it just feels weird that they would not tell you this at all. Another thing I didn't like is that the protagonist has this deep voice that makes him sound more like a Rambo kind of guy. So he's obviously a superhero, we don't have to argue about that. I've been cleaning out every map with him, a single guy killing pretty much battalions of soldiers and tanks and everything, but the game does not give you that feeling. It's not like you're playing a Serious Sam game or a Duke Nukem Forever game, you know what I mean? While he's a superhero, he's not supposed to be lore wise. He's just a really good operative who's really good at doing these covert missions, and that is fine, but the voice, everything is just a bit too much for my taste. I'm not saying that it's bad, I'm just saying that it contributes to this whole thing, and not to mention that his voice and his behavior is always very monotonous. He doesn't seem to show any emotions, he doesn't get scared, he doesn't get amused, he just makes some bland comments on stuff. Nothing really vexes this guy, and that just destroys the character for me. It's not like it's been much better in the previous games, but you know, I thought I'd address it because they still haven't done anything about that. So I'm gonna keep complaining until eventually we get a bit better voice acting, although I don't really blame the voice actor. I think that this is more how they want the character to sound, so the voice actor is giving them what they want.
Red Fox calling Mother Hen.
Receiving you, Red Fox. American observation plane has spotted relay tower on outskirts of town. Neutralize mobile radio operator before he can summon reinforcements. Also, deal with the sniper. Out.
Red Fox out. Hey, you don't sound too well.
You must be Lieutenant Fairburn. I've been told to take you to our leader, Sophia. We call her the Angel.
I'll make my own way.
The fascists have conducted a rastrellamento. They've gone through the town, taking our people. The Angel is planning a rescue.
She sounds like a brave woman.
You know about Commando Bethel.
Fuhrer can issue whatever orders he likes.
The next thing that I want to complain about is that this is a stealth game, okay? You can go guns blazing, but you can also go stealthily, and I personally really enjoy playing stealthily, so you can do that. But as soon as your cover is blown, as soon as the indicator is red, you're essentially going to be attacked by pretty much everyone on the map. They know where you are. Even if you were seen by only 2-3 guys and you shot them almost immediately as they recognized you, you still have this red indicator and you're still known to pretty much everyone around, and it takes a while. And that makes no sense. They didn't radio in, they didn't blow any whistles, they didn't do anything, yet a huge chunk of the map knows where you are. So if you lose your stealth, it might be good to reload a checkpoint. At least that's what I did if I didn't want to go guns blazing. These are the things I did not like about the game, so let's talk about the good things. First of all, the game is optimized really well. I have a mid-range PC, we're talking 8GB of RAM, we're talking an i5 processor, and my GPU is nothing too good. It's an R9 293X OC from AMD. It's not a bad GPU, but my point is that my PC is essentially mid-range. It's not high-end for gaming, yet the game runs easily with around 100 frames when I max out everything, unless, well, 100 might be a bit too much, but let's say 90 frames. But of course, once you activate the vertical sync, it plummets to 60 anyway, but it holds them easily, even if I'm recording while I'm playing, which usually lowers the frame rate quite a bit. The game is also a lot of fun in both single player and co-op. I personally opted out to play all the missions in single single player first because the co-op experience is a bit different. It is better to play the game in co-op, but it is good to first have played it in single player just to get a feel for the maps, to get a feel for how the game works. Because when playing in a team, if you want to stay stealthy, you have to put a bit more effort into it. The next thing that I want to address is the fact that the game actually has a story, which is very unusual. The previous ones also tried to create a story, but felt like the story was just an excuse. Now, at least we have something that resembles a story much better than in other games. So ultimately, I'm pretty happy with that. It actually has even a sudden revelation at the end of the story, so it's interesting to see it. I really expected very little of it, and it gave me a little bit more than I expected. So the story's not gonna blow you away, but it's definitely better than in the previous games. Of course, the X-ray kill cams are still awesome. You will never get tired of seeing these, especially when it comes to blowing people's balls off. It's just hilarious. I can't help it. The kill cam is awesome. It's just great. It's the best kill cam ever in any game so far, and I hope they keep continuing it. Although I can only imagine that that will be the case because it's one of the biggest selling points for the game. Just good job with that one. Another thing that I want to address is the fact that we have very large maps. And since we have several quests on these maps or several objectives and you are free to go about your business however you like, it's a lot of fun to just try to kill as many as possible, stay stealthy, and if you are like me, you're going to actually play this game like you play Hitman and try to kill pretty much everyone you can on the map until it's clean. And on some maps, I think I've actually managed to literally take out every Nazi on the whole map. I would run around and there'd be no one left, and I destroy their trucks and stuff. Of course, everything gives you experience, so it's in your interest to do that. The next point is that there is bleeding. The soldiers who are critically wounded will drop to the ground and roll around, and if nothing happens, at least I haven't seen any other soldier save them in any way. They just bleed out and you even get points for that. But the Jaeger soldiers are actually quite resilient and they can handle a few really dangerous shots. That's something that was a little bit annoying for me, especially with high caliber rifles such as the Mosin Nagant. They would still take a chest shot without too much of a problem. I found that to be quite extreme. The next thing that I want to address is that we have checkpoint saves. Now the game will auto save almost constantly. This is really nice because if anything happens and you break stealth like I told you I do, this will really save your ass because it will just reload usually about half a minute earlier or something like that. It's really a great tool to just play the way you want without any repercussions when you're playing in single player. Of course, in multiplayer that's not an option, so you gotta be more careful like I've said. The next point, the side quests themselves are much more interesting than they used to be in the past. They feel like main quests. It goes so far that I once ended a mission prematurely because I thought I was doing side quests, but I ended doing the main quest. So that's how good the side quests are designed. You can actually get confused and end up doing main quests thinking they're side quests because the side quests are so good as well. Luckily, I used the checkpoint save and loaded up pretty much 30 seconds before the end of the game and managed to do all my quests on the map before I ended, because if you're gonna play this game, you might as well do everything and get the most bang for your buck. That's pretty much it. Another thing that I forgot to mention earlier was that the soldiers can sometimes be a bit too oblivious. They lack proper peripheral vision, especially they don't notice things like, for example, when I use a silenced handgun to shoot somebody in the head and he's wearing a helmet, the shot will go through the helmet and you will hear a clear ding sound. It's pretty loud, and the guy who's next to him is absolutely oblivious to that. He does not hear that, although it's very loud. There's a very loud ding and then the guy drops dead, and his buddy who's like a meter away from him did not hear that. He doesn't hear him drop to the ground, and personally I don't want him to be too vigilant, but I'm just saying that this felt kind of weird. Maybe on the highest difficulty it won't be this way. I haven't checked, but on normal it was that way. And that's another thing, that when you shoot them in the head and they wear helmets, sometimes the bullet will penetrate it and sometimes it won't. I've tried this numerous times from pretty much the same distance, and sometimes it just doesn't work well. I don't know why, it's just the way it is. But that's the only negative thing that I can think of that I had forgotten to mention just now. So should you be playing this game? Quite honestly, this game is so much fun. There's hardly another game that's come out this year where I would say absolutely must buy for pretty much everyone. I think that anyone who plays computer games or console games will be able to enjoy this game because it gives you freedom. It tells you, hey, there's a bunch of Nazis, go crazy, and that's what you're gonna do. You destroy their vehicles, you destroy tanks, you get so many gadgets you can play with. It's just a lot of fun, different rifles, upgrades. For me, absolute must buy, and I think that if you follow my advice, you will not regret it. Thank you for watching my review, and I hope you'll take a look at the other ones. Have a great day.